it's confusing. We have 7 candidates, but they're running for 2 different seats. So you have to keep that in mind. The 2 gentlemen over here, Mr. Edwards and Mr. Atkins, are running for what we call the 1-2-13 seat, which is presently held by Larry Payne. So they will always answer the questions one after the other, but they'll alternate back and forth. The other 5 candidates are running for the 1-3-13 seat, which is presently held by Mr. Sullivan, and they will answer questions in a random order which has been chosen by a random number generator, believe it or not, and those will be fitting in someplace in the line. Our moderator, Ellsworth Holden, partly developed the system, and he'll be able to keep track. He's an economist, and he always keeps these things, and he's a finance man, and a good numbers man. My name is Edward Baum, and I'm coordinator for the candidates' forums, and let me mention a couple of other things. This is a forum. It is not a debate. They do not debate among themselves. It's designed to obtain information on the issues which are important to you. And what issues are important to you? We start off with the questioning by the media, 2 rounds of questioning, and then we have questions from the audience. On your seats, you will find a little piece of paper. You can write your question. Once you have written a question, all you have to do is hold it up, and one of the greeters, question picker-uppers, will come by and pick it up. And I'd like to introduce right now Christine Nisley and David McCoy, who will be getting the questions. We have a reviewer, and the purpose of the reviewer is not to take out questions that they don't like, but to make sure that the question hasn't already been answered, and to make sure we don't have what we call zingers. And the zinger is the old-fashioned question, have you stopped beating your wife lately? Designed to answer by only one candidate. So when you write your questions, be sure they can be answered by all the candidates, that it is an issue type of campaign. Lastly, as you'll notice, if David will sort of turn around just a little bit, keep turning. This is sponsored in part by the Athens County League of Women Voters. We are in favor of voter education, and if you have any questions about the League, you can see Ellsworth Holden at the end of the debate. He is one of the co-presidents of the League. And is Carol Patterson here? Did I see her? Oh, right there, right next to her. Carol Patterson is the other co-president of the League. Ask them about anything if you want to know about the League of Women Voters. Without further comment, I will now give this mic back to the candidates and turn this over to the moderator. Put that down there.
Let's make sure you can hear this. Is it out there nice and loudly? Because I'm a user, not a technician. Good. And each of our candidates will give a 2-minute introductory presentation. And as Ed said, the order's been chosen by lot, and they've got the order in front of them, and I'll try to keep us all up to speed on that. And then after that, we will turn to questions from the news media, 2 rounds from our 4 media reps, and then questions from the audience. And we're planning to go for 2 hours. And Ed will cut us off when the time comes, but we can count on that 2 hours. And so the orders have been chosen by lot, and we will turn to Mike O'Brien for your 2-minute presentation.
Thank you, Ellsworth. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this forum tonight. I want to thank all of you for turning out. Let me begin tonight by telling you who I am and what I stand for. I'm the only proactive progressive Democrat on the stage this evening. I am the only candidate who, after seeing the effects of fracking in the fracking fields of West Virginia, called for a statewide moratorium on fracking until a study of its effects on the environment and on human health has been conducted. I've advocated for workers' rights in our unions by working and organizing for the repeal of Senate Bill 5 and the defeat of Issue 2. I'm a former union member. I belong to Service Employees International in Local 1 in Chicago. I've worked as a job skills trainer, as well as a local business owner. I'm a proud 4th-generation veteran. I fully understand the county's need to reach out to our heroes as they return from the battlefields of Iraq and Afghanistan. I will work tirelessly to help our Veterans Service Office expand outreach to all Athens County veterans. I support domestic partnership benefits for the LGBT residents of our county. When over 100 residents of the Fortune 500 and the City of Athens already offer these benefits to employees, this benefit makes our county more attractive to prospective employers, and it is simply the right thing to do. I will end the inhumane use of gassing in our local animal shelter and will work to make our county shelter a no-kill shelter. Finally, I will be a full-time commissioner to Athens County because the citizens of Athens County and the complex challenges we all face deserve full-time attention from our elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, maybe we could not applaud because you'll use up about 15% of your evening if you do. So may I ask no applause? We'll just scratch that from the record, if you will, because we're here to hear what our candidates have to say, and I think that's a good idea. Now, the orders were chosen randomly, and Paul Smoke Barrett, you have your 2 minutes coming up right now.
Thank you. This thing over here. Can everybody hear me okay? Thank you. Okay, my name is Paul Smoke Barrett. I got the nickname of Smoke. I want to get that clarified. Now I don't smoke, but I got the nickname of Smoke through baseball related with my father, tagging him along. But I'm a supporter of bridge builders in Gloucester, Ohio, which you probably don't know a lot about, Trimble Township, but it's a group of ladies dedicated to keeping young kids off drugs. It's grown quite a bit. It's quite an organization. I'm a graduate of Jacksonville Trimble High School. I've been I served as a township trustee for 6 years in the 90s. I'm currently serving on starting my third year of a 4-year term now. And I managed a successful business, or actually years ago. It was the first job my father had was Buckeye Erecting. We did the Oblenus Hospital. And I've been endorsed, I've been served on United Mine Workers Safety Committee for 11 years, an elected position. I've been endorsed by both ASME and United Mine Workers. I'm proud of these endorsements. And here's the main thing I want to do right now is there are a lot of people living below the poverty line. And people in Columbus have just given themselves a 10-minute, or 10, she gave me 10 seconds. Have given quite a raise to themselves. Well, I want to pledge that 5% of my commissioner's salary will go to food bank for senior citizens, veterans relief, or some local worthy cause where we can see it visibly. I think it's the right thing to do also. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
And let me just mention the order. Next will be Mark Sullivan, Hoffman, Schmiel, Adkins, Edwards. I trust you can see these numbers, and so Mark Sullivan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Sullivan, and I've been your commissioner since November the 20th, 1998. I currently live in Millfield, Ohio. I'm the father of 2 children that go to Athens City Schools. I grew up in Bookville, graduate of Nelson Rework High School, where I was lucky enough to be fairly good at basketball and got a scholarship out in Indiana, and went to college out there and got a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration. Back in like 2000, I started a program to work on my master's degree in public administration / political science here at Ohio University. I got within 2 classes of getting that degree when my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, and all of a sudden that got kind of put on the back burner. But since I've been commissioner, I think we've accomplished a lot, with tight budgets and everything. One of the really things I'm very proud of is when I first came into office in 1998, the unvoted debt capacity of Athens County was $1.7 million. Today it stands at a little over $7.4 million. 3 of the last 4 years, the county has gotten the highest audit from the state auditor's office that a county can receive, and that's achieved by good cooperation amongst all the elected officials and department heads. And I think that the commissioners, Larry, Lenny, and I did a good job of spearheading that and being a good part of that. I've been in projects, big projects from the $13 million Burr Oak Regional Water District. That was $8 million I helped get in grants, $5 million in 0% interest, all the way down to small projects like building a heliport pad in Rome Township for EMS to fly into and land to building lights at the City of Athens ball fields for our Sandlot youth to participate in. So I think my experience is very important during these tough economic times, and your continued support and vote on March 6th would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Our next speaker will be Robert Boffman. Robert.
Hello, my name is Robert Boffman. I live up in Nelsonville. I grew up in a little town called Ada, which is in the northwestern part of the state. We had a family business up there, and if you know anything about greenhouses, we had about 95,000 square feet under glass, and I became a head grower up there when I was 11 years old, and you think that's a big accomplishment. My brother did that a year before I did. So I have a lot of experience in the retail side and the production side. From there, I came down to Nelsonville, went to Hawking College. I received an associate's degree in forestry. I met my wife. She is from Nelsonville and just stayed down here. Since then, I've done numerous things. I used to work for Nelsonville Lumberyard. Then I worked for a couple of different logging companies, a couple of sawmills. Then I went into teaching. I taught down at Buckeye Hills Career Center in Rio Grande for about 4 years, and then went up to Hawking College and taught up there for a couple more years. I went to Ohio State and got my teaching certification through Ohio State through the non-degree program. With that, I also have the state degree in ornamental horticulture. I also worked as a water superintendent for Nelsonville Distribution and Wastewater Collection Systems up there as a supervisor. From there, I went over to Trimble Township Wastewater, where I'm currently the operator responsible charge for that system over there, where we just finished up a $500,000 project, thanks to Mark and them through some funding for that project. Some of the things I'd like to see happen is we need to get some economic development in here, and we need a partnership with private investors to try to figure out ways to bring things in. A couple of things that I'm personally trying to get involved in is through Fishburne's, trying to get them to locate a satellite yard down here if fracking takes off. Just heard yesterday that possibly Mine 31 may be opening back up again down in Meigs County, so that may be some jobs coming from this area going that way. The generator that's down in Wilkesville is going to be coming online, and with the fracking issues, a couple of things going on there. So thank you.
Thank you, Robert. And I might just note our speakers have cut off within about 1.3 seconds when that stop goes up, and I thank you. That's the way we like to run it, and there's nothing like having the first 4 of you do that. And of course, usually we need a sacrificial lamb, someone who still has 2 sentences, tries to get going, so it's my job to step in there and nip it off. You haven't made that necessary, but thanks to you so far. Okay, next will be Chris Schmiel. Chris?
Hi, I'm Chris Schmiel, and I've been in Athens County since 1988. I came to Ohio University and wound up making my own major, and I met my wife, Michelle Gorman. She's not here tonight. She's with the kids. I made my own major. It was called Holistic Transition to Sustainability, and I've spent most of my life working hard to try to make a difference in the world. I really do care about the community, and I care about the world, and I've demonstrated that in things like I built a house with tires as the foundation. I guess some of the thoughts behind that is when you have a problem, you can turn it into the solution, and that's the way I like to think. Now, I started the Paw Paw Festival, and I created this business for myself, Integration Acres. It employs myself and my wife and 4 seasonal employees. And I was able to take a natural resource that was laying on the ground and turn it into wealth. And I work with not only the pawpaws, but several other native plants. And in the process, I've been able to do a lot of community building. I network, I work with artists, musicians, food vendors. I am a vendor at the farmer's market. And I feel like I've been able to take an idea that sounds impossible and turn it into reality. And these are the types of things that I would like to bring to the office of County Commissioner. I would like to be a county commissioner that all of Athens County will be proud of. Three of my main platform issues. One is fracking. I'm very concerned about that. I have 2 small children and a herd of 70 goats right in the middle of the potential frack zone. So I'm very committed to making sure that's done properly. Solid waste district is another issue that I'd like to see Athens County improve on. And then economic development, a focus on developing our local businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Now, all 5 who've addressed you are competing for the same position, and then the next 2 speakers, Charlie Adkins and Gary Edwards, are competing against each other for the other county commissioner's position. And Charlie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and I also want to thank everyone for attending tonight. I think it's very important. I attended Athens High School in my junior year of high school. My current wife and I had a child, and I left school and to raise my family. So I didn't have my family, my father and mother, to raise my child. And we got 2 young ladies. From there, I attended over 100 of different classes, courses in continuing education courses in budget management, human resources, and in investments. And I also currently serve on the Ohio Public Employees Retirement System. It's a $75 billion pension system. Right now, I sit there representing the Treasurer State, which I was appointed by Kevin Boyce this last term. My term will be up this January. Previous to that, I was appointed by Richard Cordray, which most of you know, to represent him when he was the Treasurer of State. So with that education, I believe I'm qualified to be a candidate for county commissioner. Worked 30 years at Ohio University. Was the president there of the local for 20 years. Was a volunteer firefighter. That was a passion of mine, to go out and try to save lives, property, and I'd done that, and I got to the point where I needed to move on and let the younger generation take over. So with that, I appreciate your support on March 6th, and I'll give you about 10 seconds.
Thank you, Charlie. And the next speaker, Gary Edwards. Gary.
Thank you. I put these glasses on in case I do need to see something. I'm Gary Edwards. I'm from Nelsonville. I graduated from Nelsonville York High School. I have a business degree from Hocking College. I've been in retail management for over 30 years. The last 22 years, I've started and operated 3 different businesses. Most important, my wife and I will celebrate our 30th anniversary Monday. A couple weeks we'll celebrate our 30th anniversary. We have a son, Gary, and a daughter, Megan. Both have teaching degrees from Ohio University. I was a Democrat Central Committee person when I was 18 years old. I was the president of the Nelsonville Charter Commission in 1994. I served 9 years on Nelsonville York School Board. And I started campaigning for this job when I was about 8 years old, when my grandpa ran for some of his 4 terms as commissioner here in Athens County. I've traveled the county over. I've really done a lot of investigating in the last 6 months. I didn't just decide to do this overnight. And I've had a great opportunity to meet a lot of people, but some of the things that really concern me, I guess, is the commissioners have spent almost 5 weeks developing a resolution on deep shell drilling and horizontal hydraulic fracking, which I believe neither side of the concerns are happy with. The proclamation was nothing more than a political compromise. Shell drilling is going to happen. We need to make sure it's environmentally safe. We need to make sure we protect our people, our water, and our property. We have the resources for baseline water testing in the county in areas that we're not currently doing, and the county needs to be proactive in this. While they spent 5 weeks developing that, they spent about 5 minutes approving the engineer's office roadway use. They could shut down some local loggers. It's costing upwards to $8,000 per mile for a bond. Those are the kind of things we need to get involved in the county.
Thank you, Gary. Now, let me just note, for the sake of our presenters, here's the order on the next question. Pardon me. the same order on the first question, and then we'll switch order, and I'll let you know. So now we turn to the news media for 2 rounds of questions. And the first question, Steve Robb, Athens Messenger.
All of you have said during your campaigns that you're going to be full-time.
I don't have any.
I'd like you to be a little more specific about what you mean by that. Some of you are business owners, some of you have other professions. I can how you're going to divide your time between the Commissioner's office and your other pursuits. I'd also like to know if you're elected, what type of office hours are you going to keep? Are you going to be in there every day? Or are you going to be in there some part of the week? How do you plan to do that?
Yes, Steve, thanks for the question. I have already made arrangements to leave my current employer and devote all of my energy full-time to the office of Commissioner. As to office hours, those are something that should be regularly kept. The Commissioner should be there every day. Exceptions might be when they're out of the county on county business. I intend to establish monthly meetings in every township on a rotating basis, hopefully with all 3 commissioners in attendance. Barring that, I will be there every month, as well as attending the meetings of township trustees in order to establish a relationship with them that I don't think they have right now with the commission.
Okay, and let me note these are 1.5 minute replies. Paul, the floor is yours.
Same question?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I've been full-time in everything I've ever done. Whether it was coal mining, whether it was ironworking, whether it was township trustee, there is not a township trustee in the country that's put in more time than I have. And I'll do the same thing as a commissioner. I don't know what more, we've balanced our budget. We've improved our infrastructure with shrinking funds. I don't know what, I've worked day and night tirelessly. And I don't know what more you can expect. I would like to have meetings. I think that it is kind of small up there in the courthouse, and I'd like to have meetings throughout the township. But I already travel. I know all the trustees. I know their needs. I know what they are, So, but I'll definitely be a full-time trustee over a full-time trustee. We are doing our own cemetery work. I'm out there shoveling coal mix, mowing cemeteries, 0 turns, whatever I have to do to get the job done, we'll do it. I'm not a lazy bone in my body, buddy.
Thank you, Paul. Mark Sullivan, you're next.
Sorry. Thank you, Smoke. Yes, I'm currently full-time. I put in 40 to 60 hours a week. Most of those a lot of those hours may not be in the office. There's a lot of reading that goes on to be a commissioner, a lot of work done at home. I currently serve on, I think, 13 boards. A lot of those boards, like Buckeye Hills, meetings are in Marietta. I'm still very involved with the Baroque Regional Water District. I'm up there a couple times every week, it seems like, with the meetings, since the plant has only been up and operating about 6 months now. Our Family and Children First Council, it meets like 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So, being full-time you're not going to be in the office. If you're a full-time commissioner, you're not going to be there 8 hours a day. I'm usually there at 7:30 every morning. And today I was there, I didn't get back until like 4:30, and I was there till like 6 o'clock doing work. But I'll go home and I'll be some reading I'll do tonight to get caught up for tomorrow. Phone calls and emails to catch up with probably at home or either first thing in the morning when I get in the office. So being full-time, it's a lot of work. And you just won't put 8 hours in the office. It would be nice if that's all the job entailed. But you're out a lot, meeting people, trustees, the 8 villages. We've got 8 villages, 14 townships, and 2 cities. So, to be very involved, you're going to have to be out of the office quite a bit. But also you're in quite a bit also. So it's a full-time job, and I'll continue to be a full-time job if I'm fortunate to be reelected.
Thank you. Robert Balfman?
Yeah, I believe this is a full-time position for this county. I currently hold a job, and I will gladly give that up because that puts another person to work in the county then. As for office hours, You do what it takes to get the job done, and if that's 60 hours a week, you put in 60 hours a week. I'd like to be in the office for regular hours that would be posted. They may not be the same hours every day, but at least somebody can call in and say, hey, when is somebody going to be here? And they can look at a schedule and say there's going to be somebody here to talk to or to hear their concerns. You need to be out and about in the county, and you can't do that if you're sitting in the office. You need to go out and see these different subdivisions and see what their needs are and what the county can do. You work under Title III of the Ohio Revised Code, and that's all you can do. So basically that's all I got to say on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Chris, you're next.
I'm a co-owner of my business. My wife is the other co-owner, and we have several employees that have been with us for several years, so I plan on passing the torch to them. And I'm a team player, so they're ready to do this. I'll be full-time. I look at this as a huge opportunity and an opportunity to be creative, and I'm passionate about my work. I'm a young, strong worker, got a sharp mind, and you know, like during pawpaw season, I work like 18-hour days. And during baby goat season, I work like 16-hour days. You know, so it's like I'm not afraid of hard work. I think I'd like to have some sort of schedule on the web that would be available for people to see if I'm traveling around, if I'm at other meetings. I'd like to be accessible on the internet with like maybe a Facebook page or something if the commissioners found that appropriate. But, you know, I'd like to be out in the county as much as possible to try to make sure that I'm hearing from people. And I do plan on continuing to be at the Saturday Farmers Market, where people can come up and talk with me about their issues. But I will definitely be a full-time or more than full-time county commissioner and would passionately work hard for everyone in the county.
Thank you, Chris. Charlie Adkins, you're next.
Thank you. On my pamphlet, you'll see that that I say my only job will be your county commissioner, and that's what I'm here for. I don't have any other businesses that I have to worry about or take care of, so I will be there. When I worked at Ohio University, I took care of about 600 members, and they worked 24/7, as you know, at the university, and so I was there on the weekends, and I was there all hours of day and night when just walk in and visit and see what's going on. So I will. I've never been out of contact with people when I was there, and I don't plan to be where you can't find me. So I will be there, and I'll be out in the county seeing people and trying to support their needs, and I just appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you, Charlie. Gary Edwards.
Thank you. There's a saying sometimes that if you need a job done, you give it to the busiest guy in the room. I'd like to think that's me. I know how to budget my time. Sometimes I wonder if these questions aren't headed toward me. I have a business that's open to 126 hours a week. I got plenty of time to be commissioner and operate my business. And I might pull what Chris said. I'll let my wife do some of it. I will be a full-time commissioner. I will be there, and I'll get the job done. I haven't punched the time clock in 30 years. I'm not going to lie to you. But I haven't had any trouble finding work, and I haven't had any trouble making things happen. That's what it's all about in the county. There's a lot of office time, there's a lot of road time, and everything involved. It's got to be easier in campaigning. I've been putting about 80, 90 hours a week in this campaign. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to only work in 50 or 60. I'll be there for you, I promise.
Thank you, Gary. For our next question, this randomly chosen order, let me just rattle through. It'll be Mike, Chris, Robert, Paul, Mark, Gary, Charlie. And I hope you see the set too. It makes sense. Okay, and we turn to Allison Witchey of the Ohio University Post for this question. Allison?
I'm curious what you would nominate as your first issue if you were elected as county commissioner. What would you put first? What can we get done?
The most important issue facing the county right now is the issue of industrial extraction of oil and natural gas and fracking. Yes, we do have budget constraints right now. Budget concerns come and go. We've had we've had tight budgets before. But fracking is forever. And this can permanently affect the county in ways that we have not fully studied yet. So my first focus on that, or as commissioner, will be on fracking. We have baseline water testing, ongoing water testing that has to be conducted. The roads, the air quality, our quality of life, everything that we think of when we think of Athens County is on the line when it comes to fracking. I can't think of a more important issue.
Chris, you're next.
Yeah, I agree that I think the fracking is the biggest issue on our agenda. I would like to take our committee that's just been formed, our advisory committee, and make sure that they're very proactive and that we're getting the information from other counties around Ohio, from Pennsylvania, places that have experience that we can draw upon. Obviously, the road agreements, baseline water testing, and I think best management practices. It's like a process that needs to be engaged in, where it's like constantly being updated, working with the industry to make sure that new advances can make it be done as safe as possible. Even things like financial, making sure that landowners that do sign leases, that have lots of money in their pocket possibly, are receiving financial planning so that they just don't blow their money on things that might not benefit them in the long run. And in general, it'd be nice if we could try to keep that wealth in Athens County to create long-term wealth, so it's not a boom and bust cycle. So instead of people cashing in their chips and moving to Florida, maybe cashing in their chips and creating businesses. There's a Bali program, which is investing in local economies. There's a meeting coming up. I think this is a good opportunity to encourage that kind of thinking.
Thank you, Chris. Robert, you're next.
My main concern is economic development. Fracking may not be an issue when it comes to mid-March. If it still is, that's part of the economic development plan. If it's not, we have to continue and go forward. One of the things I'd like to do is try to encourage regional investors to invest in Athens County and create job-friendly atmospheres here. One of the problems that we run into is there's not sufficient space for industry to move here, whether it's a 5-man machine shop or a 100-man automotive parts manufacturer. We need that kind of facilities that are available for them to move in immediately, not wait a year or two to have those built. We've got a lot of industry already, high-tech stuff that's going on with diagnostic hybrids, sun power. Those kinds of people need to be encouraged to reinvest into the community with a good, strong workforce. So economic development is my key, and that's one of the first things I work on. The second one is we've got to deal with this solid waste and see what we can do to help reduce that amount of stuff going in. And one of the things is a MRC facility. And one of the things I'd like to see is not the county government get into that, but a private investor get into creating a MRC facility in this area. A MRC facility is a materials recycling center. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Paul, you're next.
Thank you. First thing is, and as with everything, it's basic. Identify your issues, identify your needs, set goals, and determine a strategy to get there. Without a plan, you can't succeed. And next thing, my priority would be jobs. Jobs is high. There's people out in the county that are hurting. They are truly hurting. And so we need jobs. Jobs would be high on my priority. The AceNet down here, I visited AceNet and Farmers Market. They've showed potential, great potential, huge potential. But whatever we have to do, whether it's county facilities, county money, land, whatever we have to do, but we have to get some jobs in here for some of these people that are struggling. Well, and I'll yield my 10 minutes, 10 seconds.
Thank you. Mark, you're next.
Should I be fortunate to be reelected, my first priority will be to continue to work with the office holders to make sure that the basic services our residents need and expect and deserve are received by them. The budget is tight every year, it's always a big issue, and it's probably always going to be a big issue, at least in the foreseeable future, with the state and federal government continuing to try to balance their budgets on the backs of local municipalities and counties and townships and villages. So that'll continue to be my first priority. My second priority will be the thing I usually work on the most outside of basic government is economic development. And we've had some success there. Diagnostic hybrids, we secured a $500,000 grant to help them to expand into East State Street. We have global cooling out at the industrial park that our Port Authority worked hard to keep here in Athens County and grow jobs here. We gave several $100,000 to AceNet to help them continue to grow jobs in Nelsonville and in Athens. So I think we're already doing a lot of good stuff. And, you know, I just think we need to continue on the same pattern that we are, you know, because things are getting better. And I think they will continue to be better. I just think that I should be part of that.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
And now we'll turn to Gary Edwards and then to Charlie.
Thank you. When I was on the school board for 9 years, we work on a 5-year plan. Our budgets are done 5 years out so you can foresee the kind of problems that you may have with shortfalls in funding. The county needs to work on that. We need to be fiscally responsible. We need to be able to develop a 5-year plan. There's a lot of opportunities in the county with economic development coming, but we need to be on sound financial ground in order to do that. We have an opportunity, and the commissioners are trying to extend the water the sewer service out Route 50, which is an area that could be developed down the road. But right now there's no state, federal funding to help with that project. And until we can get some of that, we can't, it's just not feasible at this time. Those are the kind of opportunities we need to address, but we need to do them by getting our house in order first and then looking at the opportunities down the road to expand the infrastructure. Hydraulic fracking is coming. I've visited the fracking site. I'm very concerned about the water and all the other problems, but it is an industry that has technologically advanced than what we had here. We've had fracking since 1954, and you know this way is 8,000 feet below the ground. It's an economic opportunity. We need to grab a hold of it and steer it in the right direction.
Thank you, Gary. Charlie?
Thank you. I think fracking is very important as it is to me. I don't believe what happened in 1954 actually is what the chemicals and stuff are using today. So I think it's very important we find out what's going in the ground. We make sure we do the testing that we need to be doing when we need to be doing it. And I plan to be at the table during them talks. But I think jobs and safety of our people in this county is most important to me. And I give you an example. Right now, the Burr Oak is closed. I've had discussions with the state park and recreation people. They're looking at building Burr Oak up again with a private public partnership. Going into the Wayne National Forest. If we can build that end of our county up, if we can bring one of the biggest tourism parts in this county, that's going to bring jobs, that's going to create a lot of help up in that end. So I think that we got to continue working and supporting small businesses and make sure they don't leave the county, which they have been. Thank you.
Thank you. For the next question, this is set 3 in your category. Let me just review this real quick. It'll be Mark, Paul, Mike, Chris, Charlie, Gary, Robert. I hope that makes sense in the columns in front of you. If it does, I'll do less tutoring in the future. And for this question, we turn to Fred Kite of WOUB News. Fred?
Yes, gentlemen, my question has to do with the solid waste district, the Athens-Hocking solid waste district, and my question simply is, should Athens drop out? Why or why not, please?
Okay, Mark?
I don't believe we should drop out just yet, Fred. I think that it's going to come to the point to where we will have to try to dissolve the district. I just think the city of Logan is going to hold us back. And I think that if we were a single county district, we could do so much more than what we're currently doing. We currently have 16 jobs out there. At one time we had 26 jobs. I think if we were a single county district, we could easily have 45 to 50 jobs. Solid waste is one area where government can compete with private industry, and we prove it right here in the city of Athens with one of the best curbside recycling programs in the state of Ohio. If we were a single county district, we could expand that. Just about 6 months ago, the city of Nelsonville asked the Solid Waste District Board to submit a bid for their business in Nelsonville, and the Recycling Center Board, which is comprised of 7 members, voted 4-3 not to submit a bid for their business. To me, that was like a slap in the face to the residents of Nelsonville, and also more like telling the EPA, we don't care about what you're telling us, your 25% recycling goals are. We don't care about that. To me, that was a wrong vote for the board to take and a very irresponsible one. But I do think it's going to come where we're going to try to dissolve the district. I do believe it will come to that, Fred.
Thank you. Paul?
Thank you. Well, not in office yet, hope to be, but I'm going to try to speed things up so I can get my answers a little more specific. However, the $3 generation fee did not pass in Hocking County. You turned it down. So we already spent thousands of dollars having a plan written. I don't think we want to follow the EPA developed plan. It will cost much more. People can't afford this. It may be time to look at going it alone. We must do what's best for Athens County citizens. Most of the recycling of Athens County is done within the city of Athens. Now, some people can't afford this. I've been out in the outskirts and everything. Some people's got $1, some's got a dime. But to make recycling work, it's critical. The critical part is to make it available to everyone at an affordable cost. Now, Rural Action is moving in the right direction. They've sent some recycling bins throughout the county. And of course, the best thing going on in the county right now is our Athens County Solid Waste Coalition, the tar amnesty program. We cleaned up 22,000 tars that have been picked up and recycled, and also illegally dumped sites. And they're doing it with inmates and some young kids that's worked out their fines and so on and so forth. So that you're getting a lot of bang for your buck in that program. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And Mike, you're next.
Athens County is so incredibly behind when it comes to recycling. The national rate, the national goal is 35%. The state of Ohio is 25%. Athens County is roughly 9 or 10%. And these goals for recycling have been in place since 1975. And right now, the county generates something in the order of 34 million pounds of solid waste. We're recycling only a fraction of that. There's no source sorting going on right now. And there's jobs to be created by simply separating combustibles from non-combustibles. We're not even doing that very well. This is not a cost issue. This is not an issue that can be measured and saying, well, gee, we just can't afford to get the 25%. If we can't get the 25%, we can't get the 35%. The economies of scale in maintaining a district as opposed to going it alone, I think, are obvious, particularly when we're talking about tight budget times. The more that counties can work together and consolidate their programs, the more successful they're going to be, the less they're going to cost in the long run. But again, this is not a cost issue. This is something we absolutely must do.
Thank you. Chris?
I guess the way the cards are laid right now, it seems like we should probably drop out. Ideally, I would think that just like a lot of state government is trying to create regional partnerships, ideally we could have had a team approach. But I think we're holding some good cards, being that we own the landfill. So if Logan and doesn't want to play nice, it's going to cost them sooner or later. So I would also think that if we did some infrastructure investment in our current recycling facility, get some grants to get some new sorting, we could expand our materials that we are using. And again, I think working with community organizations like Rural Action, I went to a solid waste district meeting. It appeared there was a little bit of confusion on the part of the governmental side and the nonprofit side, and it seemed a lot of that was coming from Logan. So I guess being the way the cards are laid right now, it might be heading in the direction of needing to split off.
Thank you. We'll turn to Charlie for the next answer.
I also believe that it's probably time to do a single county solid waste district. A couple things. I don't think that we need to wait like we did in the fracking issue and bring people together. We probably right now need to look at this zero waste group that is out there that's wanting to do this, wants to be involved, and we need to put people throughout this county together on a committee and get these ideas out there. I believe that so many times people say, well, what are you going to cut in the budget? We can't cut this budget. We can grow this particular group and make money for this county and bring income back into the county by increasing our solid waste, our recycling people out there. I think we got great workers out there, work hard. We just need to grow it and get people who understands this, who wants to be a part of it, involved with the commissioners. And there again, I think it's very important for a commissioner to be setting in them particular meetings from the get-go.
Thank you. Gary?
Thank you. Right now, the Logan Council is balking at the $3 additional tipping fee that everyone wants for obvious reasons. $3 more per ton is going to increase the price. They're worried about their people paying their trash fees. And obviously, as someone said earlier, there's quite a controversy between the private haulers and the current solid waste district. I don't think we can afford the EPA to write our own plan. Our plan now, our goal was to be 25% recycling. We're 25% in Athens, but we're at average less than 10% county or district-wide. At this time, I would like to think that maybe Logan will come back to the table and we can stay together. I still believe there's strength in numbers. I don't think we'll be able to afford what the EPA comes up with if they write our own plan. So I think we need to try to stay on track with Logan to see what maybe they'll come around our way. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert?
All right. One of the issues with the solid waste district is the EPA has a population limit, and we're under that population limit, so that's going to have to be an exemption. One of the things that this thing addresses is a $3 generation fee, not a tip fee. The generation fee would be trash generated inside the district, and that would be the only thing that would be collected. If it was generated outside of the district, we would not collect that. We do not own that landfill. It's a private individual that owns that landfill. If he's not making money, he's not going to keep the landfill. We need to have a partnership with Hocking County. This is not a done deal yet. Hocking County City is petitioning the EPA for an extension on the deadline in which they have to decide. The $3 per ton generation fee figures out to about $4 for a family of 4 over the course of a year. If the EPA gets involved, that generation fee could be $12 to $15 per ton. That's a lot different between $3 and that. One of the things in the plan, I think it's a little flawed, is the MERC facility. They're assuming that's going to be around $2 million. A MERC facility that I looked at up in Mercer County is around $8.5 million. That should be a private investment. Let those people take that trash. The trash that goes into one of those MERC facilities, only about 25% of what goes in there actually goes to landfill. The rest of it can be recycled in one way or another. One of the things that we're short on is places to send this recyclable material, especially if you generate large volumes. So I think we need to stay right there where we're at. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me review the order quickly for the next question. It'll be Gary, Charlie, Chris, Mike, Robert, Paul, Mark. And we turn to David DeWitt of the Athens News for that. David?
Thank you, Ellsworth. I would like to ask you all to address county buildings, facilities, and property. Obviously, the first things that come to mind when you think of buildings is the sheriff's office and the 911 center. But feel free to expand your answers to cover all county buildings, facilities, and properties and how you think they can all be best utilized. and if you would change anything. Thank you.
Gary?
Thank you. I think we need to take a really good look at all of our facilities. 911 is crammed in a space they shouldn't be. The sheriff's office needs more room. Almost every office at the courthouse needs more room. But if you notice at the end of the year, we didn't have any money. And it's pretty easy to see the problems, but right now we need to worry about that first before we address the long-term needs. I think this year the bond is retired on the current Klein building, which when it was remodeled 20-some years ago, way too much money was spent on it. And the county's been strapped for all these years paying for that building. At some point, we're going to have to address that. We need to come up with a facility that's accessible to the public. The one currently right now, you can't get to it, you can't park at it. It's only accessible if you happen to be uptown. But until we solidify our finances a little bit, I think we need to keep looking at that and seeing what the opportunities are. But right now, I think we better worry about our finances before we address the long-term building program.
Thank you, Gary. Charlie?
Thank you. I've been doing a little checking, and I got a whole stack of paper of county properties that we own. And I think that right now, with the layoffs, the cutbacks in Job and Family Services, there's plenty of room to move people around. So we got people in 3 or 4 different buildings just in that apartment where we got out on 50 or out on 13 space, I believe, available to put people. And that would free up the current space on out on Conant Road in the Plains. The 911 fund has money in it just for the 911 system. And so I believe there are money in the system to look at putting the 911 systems out into the Plains, along with a couple other county offices. County commissioners are looking at rebuilding the current spot. To me, that's a waste of money. So if we're going to do that, let's really do a long-term look and move these people out where they can really do a good job. I also believe that we need to look at the sheriff department from where they got to send people out. It's very crowded with the students, with the people downtown, and we're just looking to have someone hurt just trying to get out of town, out in the county. So I don't know that we got the money to do a lot with that right now, but I do believe we have money to take care of the 911 system.
Thank you, Charlie. Chris, you're next.
This is something that I've been studying, but it's pretty complex. There's a lot of buildings, and there's a lot of needs with all the departments. So it's something that I would like to, address by working with the current agency heads, etc. In general, I would say, because of the tight budget that we're expecting next year, we're going to have to try to be resourceful and see about, making do with what we have. So, shuffling something from here to there. If there are ways to improve energy efficiency, that's something that I'm interested in. There's an energy efficiency conservation block grant program and a state energy program which can provide funds. I guess the philosophy of that is if we can invest in that kind of infrastructure, that's going to reduce our long-term costs for fueling buildings. It's one of the biggest energy drains, and energy costs are going up. So basically, it's something that I'm going to have to study more and work with the elected other agencies and elected officials to come up with the best solution.
Thank you, Chris. Mike, the floor is yours.
The sheriff's office and the 911 center had long ago used up their space. It is simply not, those agencies need to be moved. Times are tight right now, but those 2 agencies are a priority to the county. As commissioner, I would look for ways. I would work with the sheriff. I would work with the with the folks at 911 to find every available source of funding to move those facilities as soon as possible. As far as the other facilities, that's something I would have to study. But there's no question the priority has to be the sheriffs and 911. as commissioner, I would work to make sure that as part of any retrofit of any county-owned property or any new construction on a county-owned building, that we would make use of we have, there's several companies right here in the county that offer a wide range of alternative energy technologies, and all of those technologies should be incorporated into all of our county buildings.
Thank you, Mike. Robert?
The commissioners are charged with taking care of the public properties, buildings, and facilities. One of my biggest concerns, because I am a fireman and I used to be an EMT, is the communications that we have. If you're out on a run, if you listen to a scanner, you can hear all this background noise and you're missing some of the information. So one of the things I would like to see is to build a public safety facility which would house the Sheriff's Department, the EMA, the 911 Center, EMS, the administration, and also the EMS station. But the facility would have to be big enough for expansion so that everybody's not on top of each other. And there are a couple places in the county already that are that big, such as the ODOT is looking at moving their facility out. That 682 intersection right there is one that it's probably large enough that they're not on top of each other even in separate buildings. Even we have property out there at the engineers facility to move out that way, properties that we already own. How do we fund that? We're already through our 911 monies. We have some money available, but there's also FEMA money out there. The sheriff has access to funds that he can get towards a facility. Some of the drawbacks are communications for those facilities is you have to have the phone lines available for them to put that facility out there, and security of that facility. That's why the Sheriff's Department needs to be with that. That will allow those spaces to be available in the courthouse for expansion of courts or whatever. So thank you.
Thank you. And Paul, you're next.
Okay, thank you. First of all, on the deterioration things, we need to do a 3 to 5 year term planning, and 8 to 10 years planning to be implemented, working with office holders, the various office holders. We need to do the assessment of how we meet mandated update repairs. And then as far as the 911, I'd like to get into that. It's I think we've been dragging our feet on it. The sheriff's office and 911 are two different entities, or two different funds. 911 has some money. So I think we've outgrown that. I think that, and it's funded by a sales tax, strictly by a sales tax. So I think we could do, it needs to be separate. You might have someone calling in a bar fight. You might have someone calling in, want to carry, concealed carry. The only thing that's keeping that thing afloat right now is the good help that they have there. So I'd definitely like to see some changes in it. We just keep throwing money in an inefficient operation right now, and it could be, we need to be out separately.
Thank you, Paul. Mark?
In regards to county-owned buildings, I think this is the last year of our 20-year payment on the Klein Annex building to the courthouse, which will free up approximately $350,000 for next year. Depending on what the state does with the local government funds, how much of that money is left for us to use, I think our priorities are going to be, the Klein building needs to be upgraded energy efficiently wise. We did the courthouse about 6 years ago, put all new windows and insulation in the courthouse without destroying the historical integrity of the building. The Klein building needs energy efficiency upgrades also. I think that's going to be a priority. And we have been in talks with the state of Ohio about acquiring the ODOT garage out on State Route 56. The sheriff does need to be out of downtown Athens. It would improve the response times by 3 to 4 minutes, and that is a difference between a life and a death in a lot of instances the sheriff's department's involved in. I think, when we did the county engineer's office, we sold a piece of property that was 50 years old and bought and purchased and built a brand new depot that will last us for another 50 years with no county general fund money going into that. I think if we looked at selling the sheriff's current location in downtown, I would think a law firm or some entity would be very interested in having a prime piece of real estate right next to the courthouse. With the sale of that building, we may be able to finance the construction of a new sheriff's office by that alone. So there are plans with infrastructure improvements, and they're going to happen, hopefully.
Thank you. Let me just review the order for the next question. It will be Mark, Robert, Paul, Charlie, Gary, Chris, Mike. And for this question, we turn to Steve Robb, Athens Messenger. Steve?
Some local citizens have been asking that the county stop using a gas chamber at the dog shelter and switch to lethal injection. But they've also been asking that the gas chamber be disassembled so it can no longer be used in the future. What are your feelings about that proposal?
I would like to see us move towards a no-kill policy. Several years ago, we were killing several hundred animals a year, and we've reduced that considerably in the last couple of years with our new dog warden. In regards to switching from the gas to euthanasia, right now there's a big cost is always a concern. We've always, since I've been in office, subsidized the dog and kennel fund with county general fund monies, and when we do that, there are always other office holders that complain about that. The dog and kennel fund is supposed to stand by itself and support itself financially. It's never been able to do that in the 13 years I've been here. So to switch to a method that may be more costly might not be financially feasible to do for the county general fund interest. And the other concern of our employees is who is going to hold the DEA license for the drugs that would be kept on site. We've talked to several veterinarians in the county. They have no interest in doing that for the county, even if we would pay them. Our employees do not get paid enough, and we would probably lose a darn good dog warden if we would force them to take the license. Their concern is, if the drugs come up missing, the DEA is going to be all over them. So there's a cost issue, and also the issue of who's going to hold the DEA drug license for the drugs that would be kept on site. But I do think we will move forward to euthanasia if it's financially feasible, and we can find a veterinarian that's willing to hold the license and do the euthanasia for us.
Thank you, Mark. Robert?
I think the people that are doing the volunteer work out at the dog shelter are doing an excellent job trying to get these animals homes. And what we need to do is to assist those people in getting those animals homes. We don't want to put any dog down if we don't have to. Probably one of the most humane ways is by chemical injection. It's very expensive. The other alternative is to use that chamber. I would like to see us get away from using that chamber altogether, but leave it there, because someday we may not be able to afford to do chemical euthanasia, and we will have to have that chamber back. What I'd like to see us do is to increase the holding space that they have out there so they can house more dogs, or at least have the space so a dog can be kept longer before it has to be put down if it cannot be adopted. The longer it stays around, the more likelihood it has a chance to be adopted or relocated somewhere else.
Thank you, Robert. Paul, you're next.
Thank you. I don't know enough about this issue to comment on it a lot, other than my wife is sitting there, and she's got a dog that sleeps on her feet every night. And if someone tried to gas it, she would probably gas them. But I would love to see that if we could afford it. I don't know the particulars on it, but the lethal injection, I think I would rather see a decent. We love our pets a lot. And that's about all I got to say about it. Other than other things have to be affordable, but I think a lethal injection, there ought to be some way to work that out. It's a decent way to put a nice pet to sleep.
Thank you, Paul. And Charlie, you're next.
Thank you. I'm totally against the gas or the chamber. I think we need to do away with it. I don't think that we should be using it. I think we ought to work with different groups to try to bring the funding in to support taking care of these animals, and so I think it can happen. I just think we need to work together. I don't think a lot of people knew that we was gassing these dogs 6 months ago, and I think we could have been further along with getting rid of the chamber if people would knew what was going on, and I'm sure that there's support out there to bring monies in to pay for that. And I think if we got to get someone with a license, so be it.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. I'm like everyone else. I would rather see us use lethal injection. But there is some concerns, and I think Mark addressed them a little bit. it is a little concern to have the drugs around, somebody responsible for it. It's not just a simple thing that you can just switch over to lethal injection. The other part about it is there is on occasion a safety issue where you have a dog that can't be grabbed a hold of, they need to put it in the gas chamber. And right now they're still trying to work that out at the dog shelter. As far as tearing the dog shelter, the gas chamber down, if the county goes to lethal injection, which we should try to pursue, we need to lock the gas chamber up. It's county property. We don't tear it down right now. You never know what's going to happen 10 years down the road. That's part of our facility. But I think once we figure out a way to use lethal injection, we should go with that when and if we can do it affordably. But as far as tearing something down, we need to lock it up and not use it. It's that simple.
Thank you, Gary. We turn to Chris.
I think, that the concerns of local residents has really brought this issue to the forefront, and I think that there's a consensus growing that lethal injection is the way to go. The gas chamber, does it need to go? I guess I've talked to some vets, there are concerns about animals that are hard to manage. They also mentioned to me the kind of like the post-traumatic stress of the person that does the injection of animal after animal after animal. So that's, those are things that we need to keep in mind because that does wear on people. Obviously, we're going to have to maybe find a way to provide more funding for this, either increasing dog fees, or I'm not sure where the money's going to come from. Yeah, we don't want to be putting these dogs down, but it seems like disassembling the gas chamber would be a symbolic gesture, not necessarily one that would make the most, that's a $10,000 investment and may be needed in the future, heaven forbid, but I think I heard the idea of a lock being placed on it, and then in special circumstances, the lock would be obtained, and so there would be a much more conscious, process involved.
Thank you, Chris, and we turn to Mike O'Brien. Mike?
The answer is of course, a no-kill facility. Muskingum County has had a no-kill facility for decades. They run it successfully, and they run it without a financial drain on the county. The argument against doing away with the inhumane practice of gassing dogs has always been money. The cost is not the issue. The training is not the issue. There are trained staff at the shelter right now who are certified to do injection euthanasia. As for the licensing for the drugs, certain things come with your job. Certain responsibilities come with your job. And you take those on when you hire on. You understand what those are right from the start. So the absence of a DEA license, it's not an excuse either. There's been a lack of leadership on this issue, and as commissioner, I can tell you, I will work to make sure that we do away, not only with the gas chamber goes away, period. Once we make the switch to injection euthanasia, there's no reason, we will never go back, ever. Because after we make the switch, we're going to start working on making this a no-kill facility. We're going to make sure that we have an aggressive campaign of adoption, spay and neuter, and make it affordable for people who want to adopt animals out of the shelter.
Thank you. Let me give you quickly the order for the next question. It will be Mike, Mark, Robert, Chris, Gary, Charlie, Paul. And for this question, we turn again to Allison Witchy of the Post. Allison?
With the tough economic times, is there an area of the commissioner budget that you have to oversee that you think could use work, that you think could cut back on?
Mike?
Every service that the county provides right now is needed and necessary. Citizens of Athens County deserve, the services they have. Continuing the practice of gutting services, of gutting the budget, is simply not one that we can do anymore. As commissioner, I would work with the County Budget Commission, the heads of all the budget units on a regular basis, We would look for innovative ways to save money and to share resources. And as commissioner, I'll camp out on Governor Kasich's door at the State House and remind him, as an advocate for the people of Athens County, that balancing the budget on the backs of counties and municipalities and the school districts is simply not acceptable.
Thank you. Mark?
No, there is no fat in the county budget. I mean, we are fortunate to be able to provide the services we're able to right now with what we have. We could do more if we had more. For instance, our sheriff is not a patrol agency. They're a response agency. But our citizens that live in the unincorporated areas like to see the presence of the sheriff on patrol every now and then. But we don't have the money to do 24-hour patrol in all parts of the county, 24 hours a day, every day of the year. So currently our sheriff, when he does patrol, his deputies shut their cars down for 15 minutes on the hour, which is wise if they're in like an area like Millfield where I live, or New Marshfield, or Stewart. But there's no fat. You know, all of our office holders and department heads do a very good job with the taxpayers' money, and I think that's proven out in the audits awards that we've received through the last 4 years, the highest ranked audit the state auditor gives. So I think all of us office holders do a very good job, and our department's head do. And the answer to your question is no. There's no fat that can be cut.
Thank you, Mark. Robert?
All right, I just want to add to what Mark said. You know, the budget is probably as lean as we can get. I hate to see anybody lose their job, because whose job is most important? It's yours. And who wants to lose their job? And so we got to do everything we can to keep those people from losing their jobs. One of the things that the commissioners do is they have the budget each year. They handle $77 million, of which 11 to 12 million they actually have direct control over. You know, you got to take care of those funds. And how do you get more funds? Is you have to have retail in here with income tax or sales tax coming through. One of the things that the state's trying to do to us is they want to take property tax collection and they handle it and give us our money back and take an administrative fee. That's going to be an even bigger cut in the county. We got to stop this money from going out of the county and telling us that we don't know how to do our job. We've got excellent people here that do what they do. The only way we can get more money is to have more retail in the county, and that's the entire county, not just Athens, not just Nelsonville, but the entire county. We need to encourage businesses like the new hardware store that they're going to build out to Albany. We need to find ways to develop the corridor that goes from Athens to Coolville, where you have a 4-lane highway with no businesses on it. You know, those are the kinds of things that we need to do to address this budget, is find ways to get income to come back in and control spending with a smaller government. How we do that, we got to work at it. Attrition is one way.
Thank you, Robert. Chris?
This is something that will take some studying. Obviously from the conversation here, there's not a lot of fat. We don't want people to lose jobs. But at the state level, you know, balancing the state budget on all our backs, you know, why not increase the severance tax on wellheads so that there's money for all the counties and townships and schools? I guess that this is something that, you know, you're going to have to work with the county commissioners. You know, and since I'm new to this, it's just something that, you know, the 50-page document of the budget, so it's quite complex. And I think personally one place we could cut some funds is the county commissioner's salary. We get paid $55,000 a year, which is a little bit more than the average medium income of Athens County residents. So,
thank you, Chris. Gary?
I've read the budget, I've read the comprehensive accounting report of the county, and I said in a couple of questionnaires that people sent me, we deem all of our services in the county to be important. We need sheriffs, we need EMS, we need all the services, we need tax collection, we need prosecuting attorney. It's hard to cut, and I think the county went through a little bit of that this year, at the end of the year. We can't afford to keep doing that. The services that people need in the county are still very important. Right now, I'm like everyone else. There's no room to cut, but we need economic development. And how do we get economic development when we don't have any money? We just keep working at it. And we need to find ways to come up with things like the sewer project on Route 50. We need to find ways to tap the resources if shell drilling comes our way. More sales equals more money, and economic development will bring us that sales. All the services we have in the county, we need to do everything we can to continue offering them and not be able to take, because the people out here need those services.
Thank you, Gary. Charlie?
Yeah, I'm not convinced that we're as lean as we can be, and let me give you a couple examples. We're paying rent right now, the county, on a facility to the university about $2,400 a month plus utilities. The DMV's setting down there is paying rent to a high university. The drivers, all these three agencies down there was brought in under that one-stop deal. And you got to watch where you put them. But it amazes me that we'd be paying rent as many county facilities we have. And so I think there's places that we can get money. Back to the 911 budget. If we move out there, it may free some of that money up. And some of that money coming in from the 911, there's some cell phone tax. I don't know if most people know it. That you can use that money for a little different than you can that 0.25% sales tax. So I believe that moving people into some other facilities, looking at their vehicles and saying, hey, if we can do away with 2 or 3 cars, the cost of the cars, the cost of the insurance, the upkeep of them vehicles and stuff like that, I just think that there are money to be found, and I get there, I'm going to find some more of it.
Thank you, Charlie. Paul, you're next.
Yeah, I'm on the clock yet. Thanks. Yeah, I think we can. I think there's places we can save in our budget. We've done it up home all the time. First of all, you just got $24,000 pay to stay. So that's $24,000 we didn't have. I think it's back to the basic planning and the contingency fund again. I think we core drilled out there $8,000 they paid to core drill for a new sheriff's department. The sheriff's department isn't out there. And they paid the guy $8,000. Well, if he wants to build it, let him core drill it. You don't buy a car, you don't try it out and take it back and fix it and then he sell it to you. So there's another $8,000, there's $32,000. I think we could take a look at working in conjunction with the sheriff's office and possibly even doing maintenance on our own vehicles. That may save us thousands. I don't know. I'm on the outside looking in. But there are a lot of things we can do to save our budget without laying people off.
Thank you, Paul. Let me just review the order for the next question real quickly. It'll be Robert, Charlie, Gary, Mike, Chris, Paul, Mark. And for this question, we turn again to Fred Kite, WOUB News. Fred?
Gentlemen, what skills, specific skills, do you possess that would make you a good county commissioner?
Okay, Robert?
I'm sorry.
All right, I think I have a lot of skills. One is my background in emergency services. I started out as a police dispatcher. And then I became an EMT and worked as an EMT in this county for 13 years. And I've seen the hardships that these people have in this county. You know, we had a pretty proud group of people here. They don't call us until they have a real dire emergency. Most of the time they deal with it themselves. So I see what happens on the EMS side. I was a member of the fire department, still am, Nelsonville Volunteer Fire Department. I'm a past president, past vice president, and past secretary of the County Firefighters Association. Some of the other things I do is a past councilman for the city of Nelsonville. We had a $5 million budget up there. I'm EPA certified in water and wastewater. You know, looking at this corridor, Athens to Albany, we're forgetting about Athens to Shade and Athens to Coolville. And how about out to the Amesville area? So we got a lot of issues to look out through there. But you got to deal with the EPA in those. You need to be able to talk to those people, not be afraid of them. Those are the kinds of things that we're looking at. So basically that's what my skills are. You know, I have a true heart for this stuff. And I really enjoy doing it. And I think it needs to be a full-time position because it does take a lot of time to do this stuff.
Thank you, Robert. Charlie?
Thank you. I bargained a number of contracts when I was at Ohio University. And if you looked at my collective bargaining agreements, you'd find out in the state of Ohio we had the best health care, the best benefits. So I think my bargaining skills would help a lot as county commissioner. Right now they bargain and have people look at contracts, and just like up to the solid waste. I don't know if people know, but we pick up, my understanding, the workman's comp of these people up there. Logan doesn't do that. We pick it all up. So I think bargaining some of these contracts, the county commissioners used an outside consultant in a labor dispute. We got some of the best labor attorneys here in this town, but yet we hire someone out of town to come in to do our arbitration cases. I sat across the table with Jerry Malika a number of times, and he beat me more time than I beat him. So I know we ought to be using people here, and that's what I do as county commissioner, making sure that we use our people. And so I think my bargaining skills, my work with the OPERS, with investments, and health care, I think I can bring that to the table and bring something good.
Thank you, Charlie. Gary?
Thank you. Not to turn this into a debate, but I've been a union member, I've managed union employees, and I've negotiated with unions. I'm pretty proud of my results there also. When I was doing, I'm sure like everybody else, I sat for 2 days, 3 days working on my opening speech. Quite honestly, I was prepared for a 3-minute opening segment, and when you said 2, I had to do some pretty quick editing. But I kept going through my resume, and I thought, man, this is kind of thin. And you know, like, boy, I know everybody's got a better resume than I got. But what I realized was everything I put on mine was stuff that I'd done. But all the really neat things I've done with somebody else. I didn't take credit for that. I'm a pretty good people person. I have a real easy way of getting people involved and getting projects done. We've been able to do some really, really good projects in Nelsonville and Nelsonville York School District. And I did that through cooperation with other people, getting them involved, turning my passion into their passion, and we made the things happen. And that's why I'm running for Athens County Commissioner. I want to do this job. My passion will be to get the job done, and I plan on doing that for 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Mike?
Whether serving as a Navy petty officer, as a local business owner, as a project manager in aerospace and medical technologies, the one thing that I learned and that has been the key to my success has been my ability to bring people together from diverse groups, folks that don't report to me, but people with multiple priorities, and bring those people together and find innovative solutions to get things done. I think about my work as a project manager negotiating multi-million-dollar contracts, having profit and loss responsibility for tens of millions of dollars a year, being responsible for the working lives of hundreds of people who relied on my skill to manage those programs successfully. As a 2011 Ohio Political Leaders Fellow at the Center for Progressive Leadership, as a 2008 Democratic National Convention delegate, I put in my time as a progressive Democrat, knocked on doors, made the phone calls, worked with voters, drove people to the polls in support of Democratic causes and Democratic candidates.
Thank you, Mike. Chris?
I'd say my biggest asset will be community building. I feel like I'm a good listener. I understand that this job is a team job. I don't think one person has all the answers, so I'm interested in hearing from all the people and all the different agencies on how to make their ideas, their experience into the best county that we can. I feel like one of my strong points is like a creative aspect. I feel like I can find solutions that might have multiple win-win opportunities. Maybe, you know, as I learn more about all the different agencies and all the different people involved, how can this person help this thing? And, you know, there's connections that need to be made. And I'd say another one thing in my life that's helped me out that I think is a good asset is just a passion. And this is a huge opportunity. And when I have that passion, I think I can get other people excited. And I'm willing to work very hard to make these things reality. And then, you know, being resourceful as well. And, you know, making do with what we've got and then coming up with new funding sources, etc. I've had lots of experience with grants and things like that.
Thank you, Chris. Paul?
Yeah, there's no secret to my skills. I just think it's hard work. Hard work. Take a look at these hands. I've been a union laborer. I've been an iron worker. I've been a coal miner. I've worked hard all my life. I'm the common guy. But I think my ability to listen and learn is my biggest asset. I've been elected. I was elected United Mine Workers Safety Committee 11 years. Over 700 men in the union. I was elected every year, so they must have thought I was doing something right. I've been endorsed by ASME. I've been endorsed by United Mine Workers, so they must think I'm doing something right. But I think if you encourage people, let them know they're important, and they're doing a good job, I think they'll go through walls for you. So,
thank you, Paul. Mark?
I think I have a few skills also. I think I have an educational background that's beneficial to the county residents. I think I'm a very good listener with one-on-one and with groups of people. I think I'm good at helping finding solutions, whether it's an individual with a problem or groups with a problem. And I think my track record proves that, shows that. And I just think my 13 years of being commissioner, of having experience of balancing very tough budgets, is a big plus. I mean, because office holders can be tough to deal with, and even our own offices, commissioners, we're a three-headed monster. But you have to know how to work with people to get things done. Otherwise, if you don't, you will not get anything accomplished. And I think just my 13 years experience of working with the budgets we've had and with all of our office holders and department heads is a big benefit for our residents of the county.
And for this question, we turn again to David DeWitt of the Athens News. David?
Thank you, Ellsworth. Watching the governor's State of the State a couple weeks ago, he talked about wanting to bring manufacturing back to Ohio. He also mentioned a project that's going to increase broadband access, and it goes to the 3 Cs, Columbus, Cleveland, and Cincinnati, obviously, but also Toledo and Dayton and Athens over here in southeast Ohio. And I think about Athens County, I think of a lot of different groups that are working to bring innovation to Athens County. And so my question is, what would you do as commissioner to make Athens County a leader in Appalachia and in southeast Ohio?
Just work with all the various agencies that involved. Like I say, I'm not well informed on this issue, but I would just work with all the various agencies I could, get all the input, I think, and especially the public, see what they need, and just work within that scope range. Bring in the best minds you can and the best people you can, and listen to them. Basically, that's pretty much until I'm in office. I can't do much anyway. So, maybe not the best answer you wanted, but I don't want to act like I know a lot about something that I'm not real familiar with, and I haven't had a chance to research. So, who's next?
Thank you, Paul. Robert?
How do we make Athens County the center for Appalachia? Take a map, go out 500 air miles, put a pin in for Athens, and draw a circle around it. We're within 80% of all the people in the continental United States and Canada. We need to capitalize on that. We have a major corridor here, Route 33, and when that thing gets done, it's going to be a major snowbird thoroughfare. It's going to be a major trucking thoroughfare. We need to capitalize on that. And how do we do that? We need a partnership with places like Ohio University and Hocking College. We need to partnership with all the small communities. We need a partnership with the travel and tourism in the area. So there's a lot of things that we can do to get out there. We need to support these people like travel and tourism the way that we can, and we're limited about what we can do under Chapter 3 of the Ohio Revised Code. But we need to get that word out. And a lot of those people are traveling this way. We're within 30 miles of 77, and if you go down the lower part of the county, we're even closer than that. So we've got a lot of major corridors that go through here. We have a lot of people that go through here. We just need to make it so that we can work together in a partnership with these people that actually bring this all together, which is Hocking College, Ohio University, and the travel and tourism groups, plus the industries that we have. Get them global, and once we get them global, then the word comes back, where are they at? They're in Athens County, and that'll help us get that infrastructure developed with the technology that they need.
Thank you, Robert. Chris?
I think Athens County is already a leader in our region in many ways. I think working on our strengths of Athens County, some of the stuff like our local food movement, the renewable energy sector. The Ohio Department of Development has these hubs of innovation, and there's none in this part of the state. So I think Athens has earned one in the local food movement or the renewable sustainable energy development stuff. We've got to build on our biggest assets, which are Ohio University and Hocking College. Then I'd say another example of some way that we can take an idea that we're strong in and spread it out is the 30-mile meal program. 30-mile meal is now expanding so that we're training other parts of the region and in the state to do some of the stuff that we've learned to build on our successes. And obviously, getting out and communicating and networking with these other counties to try to find out ways that we can collaborate to, this is a big trend in state government. How can we work together to save money from the state? They're cutting us back, so maybe there's ways that we can collaborate to do that.
Thank you, Chris. Gary?
Thank you. Used to be when we talked about infrastructure, we talked about water, sewer, utilities, roads, and now broadband. That's the new term for infrastructure, and our county is lacking in a lot of areas, but I think progress is being made. If you look in the outlying areas, when LEAX took water to some of these outlying areas, it really made development out in the county for new homes quite a bit better. As the other guys said, Route 33 is going to make a major impact, but we do have a lot of gyms right here in southeastern Ohio with the universities, AceNet, Angie Maiden out there, Ohio University Innovation Center with Jen Simon and Todd Sheldon at the Athens County Economic Development. These people are all actively involved and working with the commissioners and other agencies in the county to help us with economic development. With that and the opportunity to expand our infrastructure with the highway and everything coming, I think we can draw more business and more economic development to the county.
Thank you, Gary. Charlie, you're next.
I can say all that also, but I'll try to hold it down a little bit. I think we got to get folks outside of Athens County involved, and some of my contacts in Columbus and across the United States, because of the board I sat on, we got to get some of the people that want to come to Athens County to support us. The 33 thing is I think is going to be huge. That's the reason why I think we need to continue building and work with the Wayne National Forest, the Burr Oak, and all that area up in there. You get up in that area, these kids, they don't have internet systems and stuff, so we got to build that up and partnership. I think of the public-private partnerships we got to do, and we got to get people that's willing to listen and change their minds a little bit and to work together. So, I just think that's important. 50, I think, is very important. I think it's 50 West because it's a lot of flat land out there and not a lot of building out there. And once we can get a sewer system headed that way, I think it's just going to develop more. We got to work to try to get a high university to bring in and private people airline system so we can get some commuters in here.
Thank you, Charlie. Mark?
I think that we're already headed in the right direction. I know where I live at 5 years ago, I had dial-up internet connection. Today I have a high-speed internet, very high-speed, even quicker than what the T1 line is in the courthouse thanks to Nelsonville TV cable. I know that they're expanding in the rural areas, which is a big plus. And Telewave has secured a grant from the federal government to expand broadband in certain areas of the county, which will be a big plus for us, a year, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. And, our roads, when US 33, I went to the track committee before and begged, I have no problem going to our federal and state officials and, begging for help, and I actually helped get, 33, I lobbied for the completion of it. And with the sewer and water, we've been very successful expanding the Baroque Regional Water District. We are currently planning, so if funding becomes available, to at least provide sewer from Athens to County Road 19, which is Radford Road, which is very important because Margaret's Creek is our only exceptional warm water habitat in the county. And there's around 1,000 homes that will be provided with sewer if we're fortunate to get grant funding to accomplish the project. And I think with my skills that I can help see that come about.
Thank you, Mark. Mike?
One of Athens County's biggest selling points is our quality of life. And it's something we have to preserve and to promote. You can't get global without broadband, and there's been an incredible lack of leadership in that area. Over 10 years ago, I was in the jungles of Nicaragua working after Hurricane Mitch, and we could get a cell signal. Even today, you can't get a cell signal in areas around Millfield. And that's just inexcusable in this day and age. And it's all about infrastructure. The county, we need a county-wide sewer system. The Albany to Athens project is just a down payment on that. Thanks to the leadership of President Obama and Governor Strickland, we're finally going to have the Route 33 highway complete. But selling ourselves out for short-term gain for things like fracking without knowing all the impacts, that's not the answer either. Our solution is right here. Whether it's our alternative energy companies, whether it's our agriculture sector, we can do it ourselves.
Thank you. Well, I think we're ready to switch to questions from the audience. And I want to thank you four news media reps for your being here, your participating, your asking those questions. And let me go through the order. Again, you probably see it on your column, but this will be Mark, Chris, Mike, Robert, Paul, Charlie, Gary. And so here we go. What are you going to do to get good paying manufacturing jobs to Athens County? And how do you feel about Rocky Boots shutting down their manufacturing facility to go overseas to make their products? And would you meet with them about bringing their manufacturing back to Athens County? Mark?
Yeah, economic development is hard, you have the state government going one direction, and you have the federal government going completely in the opposite direction with their, with their GATT agreements and NAFTA agreements going one direction to help companies take jobs out of this country. Then you have the state going the opposite direction, providing incentives, funding for counties to help keep jobs here and create jobs. So, until the state and the federal government, the states and the federal government start working better together, economic development is going to be very hard to do locally. But I think, in my 13 years, we really did a good job of keeping a lot of good jobs here. Yes, we did lose Rocky Boots, but we do have diagnostic hybrids. We have global cooling. We have SunPower. We have Sterling Technologies. And we have some solar companies that are being very successful. So I think that that we do a very good job with what we have. I think we do the best job with what we have. You know, we have 2 good incubators, Ohio University Innovation Center and AceNet that are doing a very good job of helping us create jobs also. And we've been supportive of both of those groups and will continue to do so. So I think that we're doing as best job as it can be done in this economy.
Thank you, Mark. Chris?
I would say that we're going to need a diversified economy because of the big picture manufacturing jobs aren't that easy to come by. But I think the answer to manufacturing jobs would be trying to focus on value adding to our resources. On our farm, we milk the goats, we value add to it, we make the cheese. That's actually manufacturing. I think we could do that in a lot of ways. Maybe with our waste stream in Ohio, there's not that many places that are creating recycled material products. So it's like, we can't find markets, let's create markets right here. And I think we've got some great assets in Athens. Obviously the Innovation Center, Ohio University, I mean, we've got these gems that can provide these great ideas, and so they're already doing it, and AceNet's doing it. But again, how can we focus on taking resources that are local and value adding to them? And that value adding process is manufacturing. I also would mention again this idea of a hub of innovation and opportunity that the Department of Development has. I noticed that we're lacking in this part of the state in that area, and could see, focusing on some of our strengths like the renewable energy or the local food in that area.
Thank you, Chris. Mike?
It's time we stop blaming NAFTA and GATT for all of our problems in manufacturing. I worked in manufacturing. I worked in manufacturing for years. I started out sweeping floors in a machine shop and eventually rose to the position of project manager. In almost every case, when something was brought to us, to look at it for potential outsourcing, we were able to show that the savings from that were so incremental. It's all about adding to the bottom line. It is all about profit. It is not about trade agreements. Let's get that straight. We need global trade. Athens can be a hub, a regional hub in that effort. But again, we can't do it without infrastructure. Governor Kasich has talked about manufacturing jobs, yet he's going out of his way to gut the very budgets that we need to be able to develop our infrastructure and engage in real sustainable, environmentally friendly economic development. So until we find a way to send the message to Columbus that they just can't continue to cut us at the same time telling us, hey, we're going to bring manufacturing back to Ohio, we're not going to get anywhere.
Thank you, Mike. Robert?
The question basically was how are we going to get economic development and manufacturing. I do some part-time work with a company called Rock Mill Machinery Moving. And about 5 years ago, most of our work was loading stuff up and hauling it out of Athens County. The spec building, or not the spec building, but the old AEP building out there in the industrial park. We hauled the last injection mold machine out of there. That was 170,000 pounds. It took us 2 weeks to get that machine out. What was the next job we did for them, for Rock Mill? We moved the machine back from Mexico, put it up in Columbus for Honda, because they found they could actually do it better and do it cheaper in this country. Right? So we need to get manufacturing back in here. How do we get it in the county? We have to have places for them to go. Let's go to this Rocky Boot thing. How many jobs did we lose? But how many did we gain? How much money did we gain? Nelsonville actually makes more money now off of Rocky Boot in income tax than we did before the factory left. But what else did it do? When they left, it made that warehouse building available to AceNet. How many people does AceNet have in there? There's probably over 70 people in EdMap alone in that building. So was it a detrimental hurt to the county, to Nelsonville area? No, it was not. It's actually a boost for us. They're looking at trying to bring their manufacturing back from the Far East. How far they're going to bring it, they don't know yet, but they have to stay competitive. If they didn't do that, they would have been gone.
Thank you. Paul?
Yeah, I disagree with Mike on the NAFTA and GATT. I've been against that from the go. I think if you make it in the United States, you ought to sell it in the United States. If you want to go overseas, take it overseas, you go with it. You lose your citizenship. Anyway, it's just like the Mexican problem, and not discriminating against Mexicans. They're great, hard-working people. But we could close our borders in a heartbeat. It's all about money, money, money. Because Israel theirs is closed every day. They protect their borders every day. So, but anyway, to create jobs, yeah, I would, what the county can do to encourage environmentally responsible job growth, continue to work with the Regional Planning Commission, Port Authority, and have other groups like high universities work in specialized training for companies, Hawking College. And we must exploit our strengths. We're probably the only county that's got an airport in the general proximity here. So we have it here, but I think if we all work together, we can bring it out, bring our county out of it.
Thank you, Paul.
Now,
were you through? I think you were through. Charlie, you're next.
I'm not for sure we're going to bring any major companies to Athens, but I think we really need to look at trying to work to build the airport. Like I said earlier, I think we need air service in here so we can actually fly people into this area who may do business with us. As I said early on in this campaign, that I was going to personally write letters every week to different places, different companies to say, hey, how about come to Athens, Ohio? I plan then, after a 6-month period or so, is try to travel to them places saying, hey, look what Athens, Ohio has. I would support Rocky Boot or any company to come back to Athens County. I believe anyone that we can get here and that creates jobs is a good thing. So I would support that. Once again, I think we got a lot of small businesses going. We just need to, they need to be at the tables with the commissioners to continue building some of these products that we're shipping out of Athens. And so I would support that and be out there trying to say, hey, we have something to give you.
Thank you. Gary?
How do we keep good-paying jobs in Athens County? Or how do we bring good-paying jobs to Athens County? First thing we need to do is take care of the ones we have. Keep providing the services we have at an economic value to our businesses. We need to make Athens County a business-friendly community. People aren't looking to bring plants down here. We haven't had the kind of environment that's encouraged manufacturing. Rocky Boot, I don't even know where to begin, where that question was. I know Mike Brooks would love to be making shoes right there in Nelsonville. It just didn't become feasible anymore. Rocky Boots is a $300 million corporation based in Nelsonville, Ohio, that employs more people with a higher payroll than we've ever had by far. And they've done everything they could. I was at a Children's Services Board meeting last night, and they were talking about one of their sub-agencies getting a grant from Rocky Boots. They're the best corporate citizen this county could ever have. And if they could make boots in Nelsonville, they'd be making boots in Nelsonville. It's just not feasible this time. We're not all wearing American-made shoes, I can guarantee you right now. If we were, they'd be making them in Nelsonville. We got to keep Athens County, take care of the business we got, make it a friendly environment, and we'll get more business.
Thank you, Gary. The clock has been jogging fast, and with 7 candidates to address each question, it jogs even faster. So I am informed that we have no more time for questions, and we need to go to our 2-minute closing statements. And let me just review quickly. It's the next column, but the order will be Robert, Paul, Chris, Gary, Charlie, Mike, Mark. So I'll let you shuffle your papers for just a moment and get your closing statements out. And Robert, the floor is yours.
All right. Athens County is a great place to live. When I came down here in 1972, I never left. I mean, it's a great place. I came from the flatlands of the state, and I thought, how do people drive around down here in the wintertime? You just drive. That's just the nature of living here. But it's beautiful in the fall, in the spring when everything's budding out and coming back out. It's a great place to live. And how did it get that way? It's the people of Athens County. And Athens County is what makes this thing go, and that's what's going to make it survive. Right? I just want to be a bigger part of that. I want to be your county commissioner. What am I doing trying to bring people into Athens County? My son and I co-chairman the restoration of that steam engine up in Nelsonville, Hocking Valley St. Clair Road, which brought over 40,000 people into northern part of the county last year alone. Right? That steam engine, if we can raise enough funds, may be operating by Christmas time of this year. If that happens, we're going to have another big influx of people into this county. You have places like AceNet that are innovating businesses and helping them grow and nurture so they can expand out. You have the Innovation Center. But all those are in the northern part of the county. We have to worry about the southern part of the county too. And that's where we all need to become involved, is to develop the entire county, whether it's a farmstead down there where people can come and spend the week working with farm animals, promoting the agriculture through the agricultural societies and supporting our fair board. Those are the kinds of things that's going to make this county work. We need to look at the infrastructure. We need to look at the roads, and if we have development, how are we going to protect our roads? Fracking is probably going to be upon us. We'll know more about that by mid-March to see if that happens. We need to encourage small development with getting investors into the county. My goal is to see in every township a building that is about 15,000 square feet that you can divide up into 3 5,000 square foot businesses, so that when somebody comes in here and says, I need a place to start a business, how many square feet do you need? You can start today, not in 6 months or a year. We need to prepare for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Paul?
Okay, thank you. A lot of you don't know me, but I got some. This is not time for on-job training. In Trimble Township, that's a poverty township. Our infrastructure, we've improved them over the last 2 years. We've improved our cemeteries, improved our buildings, bought new machinery, given raises to all 3 fire departments, had no layoffs. In fact, we created jobs. We've obtained grant and FEMA money. We have no payments on anything. We did this in a time of shrinking revenue with the cost of material and fuel going sky high. It all increased. This is all documented. Now, none of the other 4 candidates sitting here, and I respect them all, none of them can say this. Given the same opportunity, I want to do this for Athens County. So why not trust someone with a proven track record? In the last election, 8 people were in my race. I won by a majority. So I'm electable now. I'll be electable in November. Are you sure everybody else is? Athens County taxpayers deserve a full-time, proactive commissioner who has great respect for the commissioner's office. And remember, 5% of my salary is going to stay in Athens County for the needy. It's time for change. On March 6th, I'm asking you to put me to work for Athens County. And if I still had 15 seconds left, my 2 grandsons do work in a plant in Morgan County. And why can't we do that here? There's plenty of land towards Carthage. There's a lot of things we can get into, but thanks, ladies.
Thank you, Paul. Chris?
Thanks for listening to me tonight and all of us. I'm running because I feel like democracy needs some new voices at the table. And I'm a new person to politics. I've been learning a lot, and I will continue to learn. I've enjoyed the experience of learning more about our county and learning about how democracy works, and I'm getting my friends involved, and I feel really good about that. I feel like my community involvement over the last 24 years as a OU student and then as just a county resident will help bring some new voices to the table. And as a business, I feel like I've been able to be resourceful and creative to create opportunities. And I feel like this kind of mindset will be helpful at the county commissioner's table. Some of the things that are really important in the next couple years, obviously, I think, is fracking. It's the huge impact on our community, and I want to make sure that it's done properly when it's done, if it's done. And the reason, I care on a personal level, I think health is something that, we need to promote in our communities and in our families. And there's some tough issues Obviously, our county's got a lot of poverty, it's got a lot of substance abuse issues. How can we tackle these issues and try to make solutions come together? I'd like to be there to try to make this happen. And thanks for your time.
Thank you, Chris. Gary, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for your hospitality and giving us a chance to talk to you, the voters. In this campaign, I've been accused of not having a plan. What I said was I didn't have an agenda when I started this. There is a difference. No one said I didn't have a plan when I chaired the Nelsonville Charter Commission. We changed Nelsonville from a statutory form of government to a charter with a city manager. No one said I didn't have a plan when I led the drive to renovate and build over $26 million in buildings in the Nelsonville York School District complex. I was never accused of not planning over $1.5 million in athletic improvements, all through private donations. I don't write these things on my resume because most of my accomplishments, as I said earlier, came from with the help of others. I still don't have an agenda. I plan on not focusing on just a couple of issues. My plan is to keep Athens County fiscally responsible. I plan on being full-time and do whatever it takes to be a good commissioner. I plan on bringing my business and public experience to the commissioner's office. And as a commissioner, I plan on protecting our environment while improving the infrastructure. We need to attract economic development in Athens County. In my campaign, I've went to 13 out of the 14 townships to the trustees meeting, a couple of them more than once. I've attended the commissioners' meetings. I've toured the facilities of the county. I've talked to hundreds, if not thousands, of people in Athens County. I have thoroughly enjoyed the process, believe me. Now you have to ask the question, who do you want to run your business? The business of county government.
Thank you, Gary. Charlie?
Thank you very much for coming. I would love to be your county commissioner. I'll work for you full time. I'll be there every day. I'll be out in the community working. My passion has been the service. I've been on the fire department serving the people, different committees I've been on. I have to say during my career, my success has actually been that I've had good people around me, people that want to work and want to help, had vision. I have a vision for this job. I plan to bring it. I plan to work for you. And I got to say, we got to keep the jobs we have in this county. We're losing them. I will work every day. I will talk to people. I will talk to these companies and say, what can we do? How can it be better for you? I'll try to get them to the table with us to sit down and talk to us. And I believe together we can work this thing and have a better county. I appreciate your support, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie. And Mike, the floor is yours.
Thank you again to the League for this opportunity to be here tonight. Athens County faces many challenges, from sharp cutbacks in state funding to ensuring our shared environment is protected while providing the services that we need. Governor Kasich and the Republicans in Columbus will continue to squeeze local governments and school districts, especially in Southeast Ohio. Our programs and services we've come to rely on are at risk, affecting our quality of life while making it harder to attract new businesses. The rush to expand oil and gas extraction in the county is the most important issue we face and is proceeding without the regulations promised by the governor. At the county level, there's been a lack of leadership, and the impact of expanded drilling has not been fully studied, leaving county roads, infrastructure, air and water quality, and our quality of life at risk. Waiting and reacting to problems is not the answer. Leadership is. As an Athens County resident and as a candidate, I've advocated for a more open, accountable, and proactive county government. As your commissioner, I will work to achieve those goals full-time, every day, no excuses. Athens County needs a proactive, progressive Democrat in the Commissioner's office. And I thank you for your support on March 6th.
Thank you, Mike. Mark, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ellsworth, and I'd like to also thank the League of Women Voters for having this and for the press coming out. This is a very important race for the county and for our future. You got a bunch of great candidates up here. I've known Bob and Smoke and Chris for quite a while, and just gotten to know Mike the last couple of weeks, but I think highly of all of them. I think they would all be great commissioners, but I think that I make the best choice. I think my experience, and I had the proven track record of bringing a lot of experience and successful projects that we've accomplished here in Athens County, from economic development to environmental issues. You know, since I've been commissioner, we've always supported like the Monday Creek Watershed Restoration Group, Sunday Creek Watershed Restoration Group, which is very important. You know, so we're trying to improve our quality of the environment, quality of life, living for people, while at the same time bringing jobs. I think I'm the best choice, and to have your vote and support on March the 6th, I'd be very, very appreciative and very, very grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Before we adjourn, why there are 6 copies on compact disc of the forum for the county engineer candidates a week or so ago. And for anyone who would like them, Ed, you have them. Why don't you wave a hand? The first 6 people who would like to have a CD for that forum will have them. And as we go toward our wrap-up, I want to thank all of you candidates. There were a lot of you here tonight. You were courteous. You were straightforward. You stuck to the 2 minutes or the minute and a half, and I thank you. And the news media, thank you for your key role as always. I want to thank all of you in the audience. And something like this makes me proud to be an American, an Ohioan, and an Athens Countian, because you could take a CD of this anywhere in the world and say, this is how government